Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Butterbean.
And this is the news.
Okay, story number one, and this is big. This is really big. A WWE legend is on the verge of signing a multi-year, $1 million a year deal with AEW. This guy is a star of multiple WrestleManias.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
He is a personal childhood hero to all three men in this room right now.
Shawn Michaels?
No, it is not Shawn Michaels. He is someone who's been with the company for the best part of 30 years.
The Undertaker.
It's Jim Ross.
Oh.
So, fresh off the news that JR is leaving WWE at the end of the month when his contract expires on the 29th of March, Raja.com are reporting that the big man is on his way to AEW, where he will presumably fill a big role in the commentary booth. Now, it is worth mentioning that Raja are the only source reporting this, so, you know, pinch of salt, hint of cynicism, elbow grease, I don't know, something like that. Basically, don't take this as fact at the moment. It's more of a rumor than anything else, but it's pretty interesting and it does make sense. Ross has been linked with AEW several times since the promotion's inception. He was even linked with the bloody thing before it even existed somehow, which is really interesting. Adam Wilborn, what do you think of Jim Ross potentially going to the new company?
Well, I hate to say I told you so. No, I don't actually. We said this yesterday. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
AEW needs, or would want, I'm sure, a big name on commentary. There are a variety of younger talents out there that I'm sure could eventually take this mantle on. But in terms of a marquee signing, in terms of getting even more eyes on that product when they launch it, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think it does. Like, there's a conversation to be had about Ross as a commentator. If presuming he goes in as an announcer, he's obviously like a decade removed from his prime and stuff. Is that really the guy you want voicing your fresh new product? I don't know. He certainly showed in his New Japan brief career on the Access show that perhaps he can't quite keep up with modern wrestling and the pace of it as much as he used to be able to. I don't know, it'll be interesting. Of course, you could potentially be in the booth with guys like Excalibur, who's excellent. I don't know, Ian Riccaboni did All In. He won't be there, he's signed for Ring of Honor. But if he's in a three-man booth, maybe it can work out. You never know.
Yeah, and certainly in terms of attracting back those casual wrestling fans who've maybe lapsed a little bit because of WWE, talk about, you know, rose-tinted glasses and remembering the good old days of wrestling. That's a way for someone to go, do you know what, if Jim Ross is commentating, I'd love to hear his voice calling anything
something
one more time.
New, yeah.
And then you're there and the action's going to
There's still a lot of nostalgia, and he is still good, don't get me wrong. I don't know if he's quite the same as he used to be.
Exactly. Our second news story of today concerns another WWE legend, my best friend, Jeff Jarrett. It's been officially confirmed by PW Insider. He is a member of WWE's creative team.
JR, man.
And
he's not JR, he's Double J. What am I talking about?
And it's also being reported that Bruce Pritchard, his official title, is Executive Vice President. It was something that we've spoken about in the past. We sort of had speculated on whether or not this was the case. It looks like that is done and dusted now. We're hopefully catching up with Jeff Jarrett around WrestleMania season, so we can try and speak to him about that. But I mean, if you take it that Bruce Pritchard joining WWE has impacted what we've seen over the last 2 weeks, it's a good couple of weeks.
Good stuff, yeah. I mean, there's been kind of conflicting reports about this Bruce Pritchard thing. Obviously, when he was signed up, the talk was that he'd be working very closely with Vince McMahon. The Wrestling Observer then refuted that, saying, nah, he's just a regular creative team member. But the fact that he's executive vice president, that's a pretty high-ranking title. That suggests that he is indeed in a very high-powered role and that maybe he's having a positive influence on creative already. Jeff Jarrett, man, this is a really interesting... This guy never bloody loses. How do you spend like 20 years on Vince McMahon's blacklist? You con him out of, what was it, $300,000 for that Good Housekeeping match back in the day, and suddenly, 20 years later, when your in-ring career is probably done pretty much, he's on the creative team. I love this guy, man.
You cannot
He
hate
never
him.
loses. He never loses. He always works his way into an advantageous position, and that's why we love him.
Love you, Jay.
Double J, baby. That's Adam Cole. Our next story of the day revolves around the WrestleMania main event, which is probably going to be Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch, presuming that WWE don't pee the bed at Fastlane this weekend. So, now the fan favourite to win this is obviously Becky. Becky has been the fan favourite to win this since the match was first rumoured. I think anything other than her winning is going to result in a really, really miserable ending at WrestleMania, though, let's be honest, WWE are no strangers to that, particularly in recent years. Now, how this match plays out might not be as straightforward as many people think, though, because according to Shagger Dave in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, WWE have not yet made a decision on who's going to win, and their decision will hinge on Ronda Rousey's decision as to whether or not she's going to stay in the company. So, as things currently stand, her last night will be the Raw after Mania, which suggests that she'll maybe lose the belt at Mania. However, that's far from set in stone. If she decides to stick around, she might win the match, and that is going to be weird.
This is the most WWE thing ever. Arguably the biggest open goal they've had in, 5 years?
Yeah.
Brian winning the belt at WrestleMania 30 was the most obvious thing they needed to do. And Becky winning it this year, whilst not necessarily on quite the same level, is still as blatantly obvious. And whether or not Ronda Rousey sticks around shouldn't matter whatsoever. This is Brock Lesnar all over again. Look, I love Ronda Rousey. I think she's had a fantastic rookie year. And whether or not she wants to go off and start a family, I'm more of the opinion that she will. I think, I agree, she'll drop the belt, have a little showing on the Raw after WrestleMania. Maybe, as we mentioned yesterday, a one-on-one rematch against Becky Lynch for the belt because, let's say, I don't know, Becky taps out Charlotte or something. So you could have that and her go off and have a family. But whether or not that's going to happen, Becky Lynch needs to be your champion.
Yeah.
She is never going to be more over than she's going to be at WrestleMania 35. The fact they were even umming and ahhing about this is inexplicable.
It's insane. It's absolutely crazy. I've got a prediction to make.
Go on.
One of Ronda Rousey and Brock Lesnar is definitely winning at WrestleMania. One of them is definitely winning. Vince is going to go one for you and one for me. I fear that perhaps it's going to be Ronda Rousey with the victory.
I'm hoping.
And then maybe she loses the belt on Raw the next night. I don't know. But that'd be stupid. Why are they
insane.
so dumb?
I think if it is going to be that case, I think Brock wins again. Lol. I think we've spoken about this before. They've had this big build. They've had Seth and all the Shield stuff and talk and Rumble win and blah, blah, blah. And we all know that Vince, on the day of WrestleMania, will look at Brock Lesnar warming up, look at Seth Rollins warming up and go,
oh, pal.
God, Jarrett, give it to him. So I think that's what's going to happen. But yes, give the belt to Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
Come on. Next story now concerns Lars Sullivan. A bit of an update on him from Pro Wrestling Sheet. He is, quote, in a good place, which is, of course, fantastic news. Now, there's no update on whether or not, or when he'll be returning to the ring, or whether he will whatsoever. But regardless of all that, after all the stories that we've heard coming out over the last few months after his mental health problems, this is great news.
Yeah, great news. Good to hear he's back on the mend. So to dive a little bit into it, apparently he sought professional help as soon as he kind of had to pull out of his debut in January. Updates since then have been quite scarce. There was talk that he'd actually disappeared, which was very concerning. Fortunately, that doesn't seem to be the case. You know, Pro Wrestling Sheet is a very reliable source. They fact check. They are usually very much on the money. So it's good to hear that Lars is doing really well. Apparently he is very happy for the people who've been called up to the main roster since then, your Garganos, your Ciampas and so forth. The fact that he may not return is sad from our perspective.
Yes.
But if it's best for his health, it's the right thing to do. And I'm just happy the man is back on the mend.
As we said when we first found out about this, there's no need to rush him back. And like you say, there's no desperate need for him to be on the main roster whatsoever at the moment. There's got a lot of stuff going on. And as we mentioned before, whatever is best for him should be paramount. Not just for him, but for WWE. And credit to WWE here, by the way, because I feel like it's been sort of glossed over a little bit. But the support they've given him and the fact they've sort of stepped back and said, just come back to us when you're ready is really good.
Yeah, they've handled this perfectly. And the fear when this broke was that perhaps they weren't going to handle it so well. And then when he did come in, perhaps his booking wouldn't be too nice. But this is all good stuff. He's on the mend. Great. Good to hear. Big Lars. Big fan.
You want today's and finally?
Yeah, I've got an and finally for you, brother.
Have you?
Get this. Wrestling is fake.
What?
Yeah, this is from Ronda Rousey.
Oh, God.
So, thus continues our regular segment in which we rip on Ronda Rousey's terrible, terrible crack. So she does this personal vlog, or vlog, whatever. I'm not down with the kids enough. Yeah, okay, cool. It's called Ronda on the Road, in which she kind of just really terrible, like those t-shirts she started selling on her website. She kind of just fannies around and drives. It's like a behind-the-scenes thing. So she's cut a promo on this. And I'm just going to recite the whole thing to you. This might take a while because it's something else.
And it's bad.
Quote begins. It wasn't a promo they gave me. It was, well, there's no punctuation in this, so it's really terrible. It wasn't a promo they gave me the other things to say. I didn't effing say it. It's not a promo, it's not an act. I'm not going out there and doing their effing act anymore. I'm going out there and doing whatever the hell I want. And they can explain it however well they want, but F him, shoutouts to Bad Luck Fally. Everybody, WWE Universe included. It meant that I'm going to disrespect the sport they all love so much. Oh, don't break kayfabe, Rhonda. Wrestling is scripted. It's made up. It's not real. None of those bastards can effing touch me. The end. So, more...
Vince Russo called and he wants his promo back.
More fourth wall breaking garbage from a wrestler who's very close to jumping the shark with me. This is terrible stuff. Like
you had a perfect game going, Rhonda, and you're ruining it. Unless this is all a work.
It's definitely a work.
But it's mind-blowing in terms of, because the fact that I can actually believe that she'd just say that in real life, though. You know, a lot of times you go, well, it's obviously work. Yeah. She's obviously just saying this to one WWE fan. There's an element of me that thinks, maybe it's not. Maybe it's her just saying what she thinks.
Oh, it's just terrible banter. Like, I mean, you're watching an episode of The Sopranos, Uncle Junior doesn't come on the screen and go, I'm not coming for you, Tony Soprano. James Gandolfini, I'm coming for you. Kit Harington, we coming for you, brother. Like, it's just trash. Stop doing this, Rhonda, please. I used to like you a lot. Now I kind of don't.
I think the promo she cut on Monday night and her just being a badass is more than enough.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm already excited. Arguably, you could have Becky win on Sunday, and then Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda never appear on television in the next 4 weeks, and I'd still be really excited for that main event of WrestleMania. Just don't ruin it for me, please.
Yeah. I mean, we're probably being a bit harsh on Ronda here. We should probably shoot on the writers who told her to do this crap, but it is crap. So there you go.
Speaking of taking things too seriously, shout out to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful.com.
It's a shoot, brother.
Who replied to my tweet yesterday when I just jokingly saw that WWE are going to be doing like a live stream, like we obviously do, and many other channels do, for the pay-per-view on Sunday, and said, oh, WhatCulture didn't invent live streams. No? Really? I didn't realise that. Sean, that's the joke, brother. Chill out.
I quite like Sean Ross Sapp.
I like him too, but he needs to chill out.
Okay.
Right, let's move on to today's proper and finally now. Let's take these things seriously.
You're right there, mate.
I'm all right. I'm over it. I don't want to talk about it.
Shoot season open.
Right, Eva Marie. I've got an action figure of Eva Marie here for you.
We haven't done Twitter questions yet.
We've got Twitter questions.
Professional.
Let's move on to Twitter questions first. I do apologise.
We'll
get to Eva Marie in a second. That's a good tease. Jack asked the first Twitter question. They don't forget to send them at WhatCulture WWE on Twitter. He says, Seth Rollins is an excellent wrestler, no question about that, but I can't help but feel underwhelmed at the prospect of his potential championship run post-Brock. Who would be your substitute versus Brock to win?
Oh my goodness, wow. I too am very underwhelmed by the prospect of his title run, but that's because of the job WWE have done. Man, there's not really a good option, is there?
There is, but he's sat in NXT, and his name's Matt Riddle.
Yeah, well, this is true. Oh, goodness. I don't know. Like, the Raw options are really underwhelming. Dean Ambrose is leaving. Roman Reigns, there's issues with Roman being the top guy. We've been through that several times. He would be my choice. I love Roman Reigns, but...
Mad to say that, I think.
AJ, like, bring him over, I guess, but even then, he's a bit like, you can't put the bird in the bin.
Yeah. It would have been Braun Strowman about 12 months ago.
Yeah, it would have, yeah.
Unfortunately, that's not the case. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below.
Gangrel, obviously.
Next question comes from It's Matt from New Zealand. Hi, Matt. Who says, what are the odds on Hawkins breaking his streak by winning the Battle Royal at WrestleMania?
Ooh.
I like that.
I think it's pretty good, but I honest to God think they're going to give him like a little rub on like Raw or something rather than just the pre-show Battle Royal. I know it's WrestleMania and all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. But I think they'll give him it maybe in a tag match, maybe even a tag title match. I mean, they gave this belt to a 10-year-old last year.
I think, I kind of agree. I think it would be nice to have him finally break the streak by winning the Battle Royal, but they always kind of use that as a bit of a launching pad, and they're not really going to do anything with Kurt Hawkins.
Dirty Curty, yeah.
I think the shows after WrestleMania, the Raw or SmackDown after WrestleMania, they might just decide to do it then and there, because it will still get a huge pop from all the fans.
Raw after, that's a good shout. Good shout.
Final question today comes from Rico Reds on Twitter, who says, with Cena being a part-timer and many of the current stars being title-worthy, when and how do you book his record-breaking 17th world title win?
I do not book it. I book like a long storyline building up to that, give every hint that he's going for his 17th world title. It's his last shot ever, make everyone think he's winning, and then he loses. Just like that, the swerve. Like, I don't think he needs it.
I think he can do it. I just look at both titles right now. Certainly, I don't think you're going to put him a Universal Championship on him. It's been so long that title's been on part-time that you have to have a regular performer do it for about a year if Brock goes away or Brock wants the title or whatever. In terms of the WWE Championship, I've said this before, I'll say it again, Daniel Bryan should not lose that championship in 2019. He should retain it. But if you want to do something like that, which I really like as an idea, SummerSlam. Daniel Bryan versus John Cena at SummerSlam. Main event, you tease it, Cena's coming back, he's training, he's taking it seriously now, and Daniel Bryan just kicks him in the dick and wins anyway.
Yeah, I mean, the only way...
Cena loses, lol.
The only way you make Cena win that belt for the 17th time is if you can somehow make him the hottest thing in the company again. I don't think he can do that.
Right, let's move on to Eva Marie in today's and finally. We got there in the end.
Yes.
I know how to tease
My
people.
cousin,
Eva Marie, come on.
Eva Marie.
It's nice. Right.
Red.
Eva Marie had let's just say she had a ceiling in WWE. Is that fair to say?
No, she's an icon, man.
Okay, right. But what is the belt that you would have put on Eva Marie? It would be the Divas Championship or the Women's Royal Women's Championship? Not according to whoever makes WWE action figures. You can see here, there's Eva Marie in her packaging. If we zoom out a little bit more, she got a bonus World Heavyweight Championship title, everyone.
It's the goddamn...
It looks a bit like the hair belt as well.
He's smoking that belt?
Inexplicable.
Wow.
I love receiving these. They brighten my day. Whether they are, what was it the other day? Nia Jax in a Rich Swann packet. Whether they are just a blob of clay that claims to be Brock Lesnar, or whether they're just mad stuff like this. Keep sending them at us because they
AJ
really
Styles money in the bank.
Yeah, AJ Styles money. Anything that you can find, or if you want to send them to us and add to our lovely shelf with the thumbing and bumming.
If you got more of those thumbing and bumming ones, send them my way, brothers.
Send them Andy Murray's way.
Andy Murray, internet. That's my address.
Andy Murray at the internet. So you can tweet them at us. You can tweet Andy Murray at
Andy H. Murray.
You can tweet at me at Adam Wilbur. You can tweet our lovely editor at It's Adam Nicholas. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and let us know your thoughts on all of today's news stories in the comments section below. And subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on iTunes or Spotify for daily wrestling podcasts. Loads of stuff going up around Fastlane this weekend too. My thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.